Clink, clink, motherfuckers. Well, isn't that suspicious? Blah, blah, blah. There's so much to unpack here. Don't fucking bring that bitch in my house and spots the camera and unplugs it. We've already caught you, dickhead. Oh God, imagine. I stumbled across a crime scene. It was Steve and Amy shagging in the living room with a fat dildo.
Hi, can I order tea and 2 sugars, please?
Hello guys and welcome back to Tea and 2 Sugars. I'm Tatty, your host, who is decorated for the festive season. It is Christmas here in the studio. If you are listening, I'll describe the scenes for you. To my left here, we have a gorgeous tree decked with the prettiest fairy lights you could ever see and a big red bow on top. How stun. She's gorgeous. She's a vibe. This tree, I'll give you some context, was sized by a man. Apparently, this tree is 6 foot. I can tell you for free, it is at least 5'10". And that's a lesson we can learn. We can all learn, I guess. Behind my head here, we've got 2 stockings, which may be a little treat for you guys. And of course, my favourite lamp. Joe and Teeny are also here, my little Christmas elves. We have a really fun episode today, and I wanted to kick it off by referencing these little stockings that I have just mentioned. Behind my cushion here, I have a 3rd stocking. You will notice that we have 3 episodes in December, and there are 3 stockings, which means one thing. Presents for you all, my little huns. So each episode, I'm going to be giving away a stocking. So how it works with the stocking, there is a star gift, like star on top of the tree, a star gift, and then it'll be filled with little makeover bits, skincare bits, things to pamper yourself with over the festive season, everything you would normally find in a stocking. This week's star gift is Teeny, the tea bag. I know that I said I was going to do this giveaway a couple of weeks ago. However, then I fell on death's door. So Teeny is our star gift number 1 of the season, our star of the season, if you will. So she is heading to someone, the gift for someone this Christmas. All you need to do is head to our YouTube channel and comment your username on Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, you can give me your email address if you feel comfortable with. If not, just DM me on something. Email, put it in the jot form. Do you know what I mean? Find a way to contact me and just let me know where you have sent me your username, and I will pick someone at random. We are wanting to grow our YouTube, so I just wanted to give that a little shout out over there. Make sure you're following all of our socials as well. So all you need to do is, like I say, comment on the main episode of the podcast. So the one that's like nearly an hour long, comment your Instagram username, or if you don't feel comfortable commenting username and you don't have an account, put it in a jot form link and I will make sure to get it to you. But you must give me your email address if you're putting it in jot form, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to contact you. So yes, that is our first little giveaway for the week. Teeny and a stocking full of Christmassy things. That will be announced next week. Okay, so as you know, we always start my episodes with my boiling point and my 2 sugars. This week, we're going to start with my 2 sugars. I have been absolutely loving I'm a Celeb. I've never been able to get into it. I never find myself keeping up with it at all. But this year, I really, really like the cast. Jordan and I watched the first episode, then we got really busy, and then we literally binge watched a week of episodes in one go. And I feel like this cast are really nice this year. And I'm really enjoying some of the conversations that they're having. My biggest hear me outs are H and Angry Ginge. I just think as men, they're so lovely. You can tell that they're really humble. They both work incredibly hard. They're both very passionate about certain things. And they're all qualities that I just find very, very attractive in men. So I'm enjoying watching them. And then I enjoyed the conversation that they were having in the camp the other day surrounding sobriety. And I just think it's really nice to hear young people talk about that. Obviously, Lisa shared her story and Jack shared his story. I just think it's a nice conversation to hear on mainstream media. As a sober girly myself. My second sugar is the Wicked for Good film. Obviously, last week I was telling you about how I was going to the an exclusive preview of it. I was telling you about how my Club L orders didn't arrive or hadn't shown up. They still didn't show up. They were a week late. So thanks a lot for that, Club L. Really appreciate that. I ended up wearing a dress from ASOS. I did a panic order the night before at like 4:30. So that arrived in the morning, which was, thank God. I just felt really nice that day. And the film was incredible. So good I've actually seen it twice now. I saw it last night with all my girls as well. Sobbed through the whole thing yesterday. And then I'm also seeing it again tonight for my mum's birthday. So, going for the hat trick. I really, really enjoyed it. It's so annoying because Ariana and Cynthia have made such a circus of this press tour that I feel like it's really taken away from how incredible their talents are and how amazing the film actually is. So that's a real shame. So if you were wondering about going to see it, please do. Obviously they aren't crying through the whole film. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just love the story, I love the songs, love the costumes, love the makeup, love everything about it. And my boiling point. I haven't really got wound up about anything this week. It was only my Club L order. I've been really regulating my emotions recently. It's going exceptionally well. Oh no, I'll tell you last night. So last night we went out for a dinner before going to the cinema. And here's how the story went. Obviously, Pepsi Max girl, we all know this. So I said to the waiter, I'd just like to preface this whole story that I have worked in, what's it called? Customer service roles. I've worked in I've been a waitress for many, many years. I'm not a dickhead. So I said, can I please have a Pepsi Max? I said, is it Coke, Pepsi Max? He said, it's Pepsi Max. I said, brilliant. Can I get a pint of Pepsi Max? He goes, yeah, not a problem. Then I'm looking forward to my crisp Pepsi Max. The lady, and now a different lady comes over, and she says, I've got 4 normal Pepsis and 2 Diet Pepsis. And we're all looking at each other like, what? Because that's obviously just not what any of us ordered. We ordered 4 Pepsi Max and 2 Diet Cokes. So I was like, oh, actually, who was that? Someone said, I think it should have been, and they were like, we don't do Pepsi Max. And I was like, no, why would you let me think? And then they were like, so what about the Diet Coke? She was like, we don't do Coke, it's only Pepsi. And they were like, what? Why have we just not been? Anyway, there was a whole thing. And then Shan's curry didn't have any chicken in it. It was just soup and rice. So anyway, that was my boiling point. In today's episode, we have some really, really fun stories. So why don't we just get into it? Here we go. Oh, obviously in the cup today. We need to do the theme tune. What's in the cup today? What's in the cup today? Pepsi Max, obviously. I'm actually nearly out of this one. I do have a backup just in case. We were decorating the studio, so I was getting a little bit thirsty. So I've got a backup. Here's some little straw ASMR for you. Okay, let's get into the stories. Okay, we're starting off with a little bit of bestie drama this week. This is titled The Wrecking Ball That Is My Friend Amy. Story time. Hi, Tatty, Joe, and Teeny. Hello, friends. They're just here behind me. First of all, I absolutely love the pod. I originally started watching your TikToks, and now I look forward to the weekly chats. Yay! I have a crazy but long story. Names have already been changed. I love it when you already change the names for me. Do you know the mental arithmetic I have to do when I'm changing names on the cuff? So a little backstory. Steve and I have been together for 4 years and got married 2 weeks ago. Wow, congratulations, wifey. Steve is the kindest person I have ever met. We were friends with benefits for a year before I got with my ex, but we were still really good friends, and then he helped me get out of a very bad and emotionally damaging situation. Oof, well, thank God Steve was there. Am I right? Which led to us dating. Steve looks at me like I've just stepped out of the set of his favourite film. My friends always say he's the golden retriever in the relationship in a good way. We have a friend, Dave, who had his own fiancée and baby mama. Let's call baby mama Amy. Amy and I became really close friends. When we moved into our home 2 years ago, she helped me get the house set up while Steve was working interstate truck driving. Wow, I love that. I'm assuming you're American. Okay, you'll have to let me know. I don't know what state you're from. We hung out all the time, and we even considered each other as godmothers for our children. We're both expecting 2 months difference between our children. Wow. After having our kids, suddenly she started to become distant with me. But not Steve. She would always text him and call him. That's odd. That's odd behaviour. She always promised to come over and have a girls' day while Steve was working away. These were always empty promises. However, until Steve got back home. So I'm assuming it's a case of, yeah, babe, I'm going to come over. Like, I know Steve's out. We'll come and I'll bring the babies. It'll be fine. And then that never happens. But when Stevie boy is home, she's like, I'm coming round 6 times this week. See you there. Is Steve home? Brilliant, even better. She would often ask to go for drives in the truck with Steve, which never happened, especially because of a lot of the times he only had his truck to sleep in and he was often away for 5 to 14 nights at a time. Also, Amy, you've got a husband. Why do you want to get him a husband's truck? Weirdo. I stood my ground and said, no fucking way is that happening. Steve respected this and also said the same thing. Okay, I'm glad that Stevie baby is on the same vibe. Amy was the type of person that would talk shit about her friends to me and was so fake. I got to the point that it was so bad for my mental health and my postpartum depression that I stepped back from that friendship. It was toxic and couldn't even get the support with what I was going through. Oh, darling, I'm so sorry. But I'm really proud of you for taking a step back. It's really difficult to take a step away from people you think are part of your support network when they're just not. I also told her I didn't trust her around Steve because she acted so clingy and was always with him that other people had started to notice. That's never good. Amy always said, no, I don't feel anything for him. He's just a good friend. I don't feel for him like that, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. This lasted about 6 months before I tried being civil with her for Steve and Dave's sake. This didn't last long until she was back to the same old Amy. I distanced myself again and she started messaging Steve, asking about me like I was, what? She started asking Steve about me like if I was okay and what was going on with me, but she never asked me herself. Steve always said, you'd have to ask her if you really want to know. I like this Steve. Recently, we've had some really fucking good Steves on this pod. It's the thing of like, she doesn't feel like she kind of doesn't have the balls because she knows that she has done something. So she doesn't want to come to you for you to turn around and be like, yeah, Amy, you've been a dick. So she's going to cutesy little Stevie baby because she thinks he's going to mitigate the situation. So for the wedding, Steve and I decided that we were only going to have our siblings as our maid of honour and best man. But we organised to get ready with our closest friends, which we would have as our bridal party if we had a proper one. Okay, maybe we're having a small wedding, so we're just having siblings as the maid of honour, but if we were to have a big fat wedding, everyone else is involved. Amy was supposed to be a part of the group until I told her she was no longer invited to the extra activities, although she was welcome to come to the wedding out of respect because she was obviously Dave's partner and he was obviously going to be coming. This is just deteriorating rapidly, isn't it, ladies? This is just falling apart. Amy asked Steve what I, the bride... What? Amy asked Steve what I, the bride, was wearing because she did not want to upstage or outshine me on the day. What? Amy, why are we asking such odd questions? Fast forward a few months later, Amy and Dave have broken up because Dave couldn't keep it. Oh God, I fear... Amy and Dave have broken up because Dave couldn't keep his hands off other women. Amy was insecure. That's my thoughts. That's not what she's written. Amy was insecure the whole time. She wasn't getting the love that she felt she was deserving or she required from her husband because he was touching up other ladies' titties, and that's where she's going after your Steve. Amy wanted to start drama and hurt Dave like he hurt her. So she slept with Dave's friend instead of just leaving him. What? She then started saying that my Steve always wanted her, always flirted with her and would engage in sexual activity with her if she asked any day. She's delusional. She's lost the plot. Luckily, Steve and I are the strongest couple and this would never break us. I started laughing about it because I know he wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. Neither of them came to the wedding because Dave ended up taking Amy's side even when they were broken up. So he's taking his, what? This is bizarre. I'd been best friends with Dave for 19 years. Steve and Dave were friends for over 8 years. Amy and Dave knew each other for not even 2.5 years. She was a pathological liar, and everyone knows this. Amy managed to destroy one relationship, another one of Dave's friends as well, and 5 friendships of Dave's, all within 3 months, just because of her lies. I apologise if the story doesn't make sense and it's so long, but it all happened so quickly, so I doubt there will be any updates, but I will definitely let you know if there is. Being Amy, I'm really not surprised if something else comes up again soon. There's so much to unpack here. Amy, you've mentioned her, she seems like a wrecking ball. I feel like she's more of a grenade. It's just pull the pin and fire. Let's fucking go, boys. She's like, I'm going to make every person around me hate me. I feel that's what Amy's been after here. So to start, let's unpick this one by one. So to start, she's asking to go on rides with Steve. Why is Dave happy about this? Just, you're not getting in his truck, Amy. Go away. That's bizarre. She clearly has feelings for Steve. Obviously. They've got children together as well. I wonder if he's trying to stick up for her because, you know, feels like he needs to support the mother of his children. At what point do we have morals? You know? I think you have more respect for someone. It shows more respect for someone if you call them out on their bullshit. She's clearly a very toxic person to be around. She's obviously ruined your friendship. She's been toxic because she's trying to imply all this stuff with Steve. I think you've done an exceptionally good job this whole way through of keeping her at arm's distance when she needed to be. She's clearly a very impulsive, reactive woman. And that shows why her relationship didn't turn out, because she's found out this infidelity about Dave, which, let's face it, is awful. However, she's just reacted in the same way, which means that they're both as bad as each other, you know? There's many more ways of hurting people, which doesn't involve sleeping with friends. And like you said at the end, she's just destroyed so many of his friendship groups, which is so bad. It's so important for people to have friends outside of a relationship, and she's just throwing shit against the wall and hoping something sticks. She's doing it with you and Steve. She's doing it with Dave's other friendships. And unfortunately, she's just going to find herself left on her own. Please do let me know if there are any updates on this one, because that is simply barbaric. I'm so sorry you've had a woman like this in your life. You just need to be focusing on you, your child, and your husband, stick in your own lane. And if Dave doesn't want to be your friend, at the end of the day, that's fine. You've just got to allow that. You've got to let it go. One day, maybe Dave will come to his senses, and you've just got to be there to support him. But we're just going to have to accept that. Anyway, please do let me know if there is any updates. Let's see what's next. Alrighty, boys. It's time for Pepsi Max number 2. Here we go. Clink, clink, motherfuckers. Wow. Okay, I'm going back in the cup. We haven't had the cup in a while. Whoa. Listen to that. Oh, that shit. This has been marinating. Okay, let's have a little looky, see what else we have in the inbox. Should we do a Christmassy themed one? Sip, sip. Okay, this one is titled, Am I the arsehole for telling my friend that proposing is not a suitable Christmas present? Story time. Okay. I have a friend who we'll call Steve. Steve and I have known each other for over a decade. We're in our early 30s. He was part of my own wedding, and 99 times out of 10, he's an all-round great guy. Steve has been dating his girlfriend Amy for about 4 years, and she's an absolute diamond and brings out all the best qualities in him. A couple of weeks ago, Steve confided in me that he was planning to propose to his partner over Christmas. She's very family focused, and he's setting it up so his parents unexpectedly visit them. They're doing Christmas with her family this year. So they're coming over early in the morning, and he will propose during present opening in front of his and her parents and all of her siblings and their partners and kids. Okay, poll of the week, guys. What do we think about proposing on Christmas morning? I think it depends. Personally, it depends on the couple. It's not for me, but what do we think? When chatting about arrangements a couple of days ago, Steve made a throwaway comment about the engagement saving him some time in relation to the rest of his Christmas shopping. I asked him what he meant, and he said that since he was proposing, he hadn't planned to get his partner anything for Christmas. No, Steve. No, Steve. I said that the two were not mutually exclusive. When I got engaged, albeit not at Christmas, my husband still got me a birthday present the following month. Steve raised that the ring was costing him more than several usual Christmas and birthday presents combined, which is true, but it is not the case that he is scraping together every last penny to buy it either. And there is absolutely money to spare for a couple of gifts that he usually would get his partner. I also pointed out that since he is hoping to surprise her with the proposal, that it would become quite obvious that something was afoot if there was no presents for her under the tree. This, a woman's mind. I even wouldn't have thought about that. That's such a good point. We went back and forth for a while, with Steve arguing that the stance being that getting engaged is definitely a gift. I said that it was all well and good, but that his girlfriend will obviously have bought him gifts that he will both appreciate and use, and that engagement is in no way the same kind of exchange in that sense. Additionally, whilst his partner is in no way materialistic, she is someone who appreciates the give and take of mutual presents exchanges like Christmas and White Elephant, etc. We didn't have a major fight or anything like that, but Steve has said that he's probably not going to share more about the engagement with me because of differing views. I don't want to be stubborn on this situation I'm clearly wrong about, so I'd appreciate the view of the internet strangers. Edit here, a couple of comments on things that have been said. He shouldn't propose to her in front of others. Getting engaged in front of family would suit his partner to a T. It's definitely something she would love based on previous conversations. Okay. You shouldn't involve yourself too much in your friend's life. Yeah, the discussion lasted 5 minutes while we were having a drink, including Steve saying he'd not bring it up anymore. It's just a flippant discussion then. In no way have I told him point blank that it is not something he should do, and we spoke civilly on the topic. I hope that everyone has a friend or two who'll be honest with them. Amen. My question was centered around is the proposal a gift, not if I'm a bad friend. Okay, well, here's the thing. I don't believe that a proposal is a gift, especially if you're doing it on Christmas. Can we not do like a stocking? This is cute. I've come up with something here. Could we not do a stocking filler thing and fill the stocking with... So we've got the engagement ring. Oh my goodness. Imagine he just pulls the ring out the stocking. He's like, this is yours, but first of all, here it is. Anyway, the stocking is filled with all things surrounding engagements. What do we think here, girls? Do we want the whole Christmas to be themed about engagements? It can be, for example, if she's a gym goer, you know, those buffer things that stops the ring getting scratched. It could be a dazzle stick, the little pens that keep your ring shiny. Some white PJs that she can get changed into straight away for Christmas morning. A white dress for her to wear on Christmas Day. Become a little bit of a celebration of the union. What else? Some nice earrings to match. You know, full set. What else? If she's not a girl that gets her nails done, some nice nail varnish so that they can take the nice picture in front of the tree, you know what I mean? These are all things that I feel like Steve needs to be thinking himself, and you can have all of those ideas for free. But in my opinion, an engagement ring on Christmas Day is not a gift. It's also, Steve's benefiting from that as well, is he not? Just because he spent the money on it, which, by the way, Steve, you could have proposed at any time of year. You are in control of this whole situation. You have decided Christmas Day. Like you say, it's not a mutually exclusive thing. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on this. I do understand, you know, it's obviously going to be exceptionally expensive to buy an engagement ring and then buy Christmas presents. I understand that, especially if he's gone all out on the ring. But I do think just those little tokens of things would be really cute. The stocking idea, perfect. You can have that, Steve. That's my opinion on the situation, personally. I think I'd be... The thing is, on the other side, on the flip side, though, she's going to be getting presents from family and friends. It's not like she's not going to have anything to open. And if it's a big family thing, you know, there's going to be a big hurrah, big to-do about everything. So, Yeah, that's my opinion on the situation. But I'd love to know what you guys think because I feel like this will be a really divisive one and it'll really split opinions. I might put this on my Instagram story, actually, and we can come back to it next week, see what everyone else thinks. So yeah, that's my opinion. But please let me know what you guys think. Let's see what's next. This is fun. Guys, I feel all of a sudden it's gone absolutely fucking freezing in this studio. I'll sit like a tent. Alrighty, story number 3 for the day is titled, My ex earns more than twice my salary but is constantly begging me for money. Story time. First of all, he's an ex. Why does he feel he can ask for money? And why is he asking for money? What are you spending it on, Stephen? I am 35 and I was in a very long-term relationship with my now ex for about 8 years. I had a child from a previous relationship when we met and he accepted and loved my child. I went on to have 2 more children with him. He was a great dad, but was never good with money. He would often just buy silly little toys or video games frivolously without saving for a little bit of time first or forgetting he had bills due at the same time. That is not good. Really silly things we maybe have all done when we were young, but you'd think you'd grow out of. But I was wrong. While we were living together, he contributed very little to the household costs, which led to quite a few arguments because he always earned a lot more money than I did. It's giving deadbeat. I was paying the majority of the groceries, the bills, and whatever the kids needed. He worked longer hours than I did, so organising the childcare arrangements and keeping up with the cleaning in the house also fell on me, while he prioritised his drinking habits instead of his family. Well, I can see why he's an ex. Can we not? Like, what is he actually contributing to this family other than his sperm? You know? We wouldn't have these children if it weren't for you, Stephen, so... Eventually, I started to feel more like his mother than his partner, so I ended it. As you damn well should. Well done. I'm so much happier on my own, but I feel like he really needs to grow up still. I have also started to worry about his drinking habits. They've either gotten worse or he's maybe spending his money on something worse. Ooh. Now, he takes the children 2 days a week and we have child support agreement in place, which is £60 per week per child. For those of you out there, that's £120 per week, which is £480 for the month. He is constantly late with the payments or bills, but will call me 3 days later to ask to borrow money from me and always has a sob story as to why. I'm not very well off at all. Oh, yeah. For context, I work part-time in a job I love, but I can't increase my hours because of childcare costs. It would work out that I would be paying more in childcare than I would earn, so I keep to the budget and I try to be as thrifty as possible. So why can my ex not do the same? I'm overthinking it here, or is there something more sinister going on with him that I need to worry about? Ooh. So I think first off, we need to stop giving him money. Like, that's the first port of call. Like you say, I'd be very curious to see what he is spending his money on because, like, what? What's happening here, Steve? I believe that he just doesn't have a control over his spending. There may be something sinister going on here. However, it's a touchy one because you want him to open up and you want him to feel like he can talk about things with you, or, you know, if he is struggling, then he can raise it. At the end of the day, he has a mum, I assume. You are not his mum, like you said, and that's why you left this whole relationship. You simply need to protect your circle and your peace, and that involves cutting him off completely. And every time he rings you to ask for money, just simply say no. No is a full sentence. If it becomes more of an issue or he's being late on payments and it's actually really starting to affect you and the children, you can go back to court now, I believe. And I don't know that they're going to be that helpful regarding payments, child support payments. I feel like I see videos on TikTok all the time about how, like, people don't just don't pay it. Is there something sinister going on here? At the end of the day, especially in the UK, we have such a drinking culture that is it he's just going out for drinks after work every day? Is he drinking alone every day? Is he drinking around your children? Is he doing drugs? Like, there's so many different things here that I would open the question and be like, what is it that you're needing this money for? I've got it. Ask him what he's needing the money for. If it's groceries, I'd say, how much do you need? 30 quid. Brilliant. Send me a list. I'll go do the shopping for you. Which is it's going to take time away from you. And I'm not a parent, so I can't say whether or not that would be a good idea. But if you're going to do a weekly food shop and he needs money for groceries or anything like that, do his food shop for him and see how quickly he stops asking for money, because I don't believe he's spending that money on anything productive, because it's just him. Like, he only has the children 2 days a week. So, and 2 days a week is not £30 food shop. I think he's probably, like you say, frivolously spending. He's going to the pub more. He's being more social. He's probably having a bit of a crisis because, he's lost his partner, XYZ. It's a tentative one, if it is found that he does have a bit of a drinking issue or he doesn't like the quantity he is drinking, you can be there to support him, but also he has a support network himself, and that doesn't include you right now, I would say. Unless you wanted to, I guess. Then, of course, go for it. But it sounds like you've got your own things to worry about. You're dealing with your children. And at the end of the day, like, it does often get put on a mum when there's a separation in the family. So, yeah, make sure you're looking after yourself. You can only support someone so far before they are taking the piss. And I fear he's taking the piss out of you, babes. So, yeah. Let's move on. All right, I've got one. It is titled, "My boyfriend had another woman in our house while I'm on vacation, and I'm 5 months postpartum." Story time. We also have a picture. We've got evidence. We've got texts. We've got evidence.
Hello guys, just as we were editing here and we went to put the pictures in, you will notice that there aren't any, and this is because the original girl has taken all of the pictures off the post. We obviously want to respect people's privacy in that way, so we are also not going to add in the pictures too. So please enjoy a detailed description of me reading out the texts.
My boyfriend, 25, Steve, and I had a baby 5 months ago. We live together in our rented townhome, split evenly between us. See, Steve from the last story? That's how you show up. Well, see how we go. I have a 5-year-old daughter from my previous relationship. My boyfriend, Steve, was my friend for 3 years before our relationship, and our relationship dynamic has always been perfect. Best friends to lovers trope. I have always recognised that he exaggerates stories, but never considered him a liar or someone who lies about anything important. And if he has lied, I've caught him out. I'm an instigator for work. Wait, no, I'm an investigator for work, so I'm pretty good at catching a lie. Period. In April, we went to a music festival while I was 7 months pregnant. I went to bed early each night and he was coming home to the campsite around 5 a.m. every night, even if his friends would return closer to 2 to 3 a.m. Well, isn't that suspicious? This caused me to become suspicious of what he was doing, and I looked at his phone. I did not see anything in his texts, recently deleted texts, or call log. I decided to look at his recently deleted photos and noticed a deleted screenshot of his ex-girlfriend's Amy's contact card taken at 12 a.m. one of the nights we were at the festival, after I was already asleep. And you're 7 months pregnant? I confronted Steve and he confessed that he saw her at the festival that night, looked up her contact and called her to say hi, then deleted the call because he didn't want me to get mad. So you knew you'd done something wrong then. You knew it was weird. Why are we saying hi to an ex? What could we possibly want to say to our ex at 12 a.m. in the morning whilst your pregnant girlfriend's back in a tent on a campsite? She's heavily pregnant. 3rd trimester vibes. What a pig. I explained I wouldn't have cared if he had just told me because we have always had perfect trust. He explained that it wouldn't happen again, and I expressed the importance of telling me the truth and not hiding things. Now, fast forward to the present. We've been talking about getting married. Our trust in the relationship is awesome. Everything has been great. I am out of town traveling with my mom and 2 daughters for Thanksgiving. Before I left, I expressed to Steve that I do not want any women in our house, especially his friend, co-worker, we're going to go with Amy again, who lives down the street and we regularly hang out with. We're getting bad vibes from this co-worker. For you to even express, don't fucking bring that bitch in my house, that says so much, right? I feel like that says everything. It shows that there isn't a level of trust there. I know you said that your trust has been great, but for that, that's telling me that it's actually not. He gave his word and said he understands my reasoning. I'm assuming we've had issues with Amy in the past. Before I left on the trip, I started to get a very uneasy feeling and felt like I needed to hide a camera in the house. So I did. Do we see what these men are doing to us, ladies? Paranoia central. There is no trust in this relationship, darling. Like, I know you've said that it is, but there isn't. For you to feel like you need to hide a camera, that's just not good. 2 hours after my flight departed, I received a notification. There was movement in the house. It was Steve cleaning the downstairs, fixing the cushions and fixing up his appearance in the mirror. God, why? I then texted Steve to ask if he had plans, and he has said no, but that he may hang out with Amy's male friends. I feel like he's teeing it up for Amy to come round. Do we not think like, me and Amy's buddies, I met them 2 weeks ago. We're just going to hang out. Oh, no. So, babe, just letting you know, Amy was there. She just, one of the boys invited her. I feel like that's what we're waiting for here. Seconds later, as I'm watching the camera, I see him open the front door and Amy comes in. And Steve locks the door behind her. They sit in the kitchen and start having a drink together. I can only begin to imagine how this feels. You're just sitting there watching your boyfriend do exactly what you told him not to do, which he's then lied about doing. My stomach absolutely dropped and I felt like I was going to pass out. To catch him in a lie, I say, you're not going to invite Amy and her friends over last night, right? Since he mentioned hanging out with them, as Amy is sitting in our kitchen, I see Steve text me that no one is coming over. Then, as I watch, Amy starts looking around and spots the camera and unplugs it. What? Boys, teenies, sit up. What do you mean you're just going to unplug the camera? We've already caught you, dickhead. No, what are you doing? I texted Steve that I fucked up big time and he starts calling me repeatedly. I answer and make him hand the phone to Amy and I explain that she needs to leave because he gave me his word that no women would be in our home. So now my trust is completely broken. I know I shouldn't have mentioned Amy's name in my text, but it gave it away. But I wanted to catch him in the lie. I'm afraid that anything that would have happened, I'm afraid what would have happened if he did not know and he had got caught. Steve is saying nothing happened or would have happened, but of course, he's going to say that. And now his words mean absolutely nothing, because why are you inviting your female friend over? What, we're going to play Monopoly? Bit of Cluedo. It was Steve and Amy shagging in the living room with a fat dildo. And now his words mean nothing. I asked him that if I hadn't have spotted the camera, would he have told me that Amy came over? And he said no. Now, coming back to the Amy from the start part. So this is the ex. Let's call her a different name. Let's call her Stacey. Sorry, I know we're swapping names here. Going back to Stacey from the campsite. I started noticing that Steve told me similar things after I caught Amy in our house as when I caught him meeting up with Stacey at Stagecoach. Oh, we're in the States. So I decided to message Stacey. She's about to do the hey girly thing. I'm pretty sure I pretty much just asked her what happened at the festival when they met up. Long story short, she said she did not know he was camping with me and that he made it seem like we broke up and that Steve told Stacey he wants to get back in her life and work things out. Mind you, I'll remind you, I'm 7 months pregnant at the time. I know the simple answer is leave him, but it's not black and white. If we didn't have our baby, I would leave, But for her, I want to try. I told Steve he needs to go to individual therapy, pay for us to go to couples therapy, and also pay for my individual therapy. Amen, sis. I have a lot of trauma from past relationships on being cheated on, specifically with co-workers. And I did a lot of therapy to get over that and not carry that trauma into the relationship with Steve. Every time I think about the lies and the messages and the recordings of them sitting in the kitchen, it makes me sick. I'm not able to eat from anxiety and it's affecting my breastfeeding. I'm snapping at my 5-year-old because I'm overwhelmed and can't cope. I told Steve that once I return from my vacation, I need him to find a temporary place to live because I can't be around him right now. Amen. And also, just to tie this up in a nice bow, a child is not the reason to stay in a relationship with a man. You are teaching your daughter a lesson. You're going to have so many feelings of resentment from this man if you stay with him. And you can't be doing that. Like this, a pregnancy, postpartum is going to be a really tough time. You need that strength from your partner. And he's out here fucking messaging Stacey, every Keisha, Becky that you can possibly find. His whole heart is not with you, my love. His whole priority is the safety of you and his family. And unfortunately, he's shown you on 2 occasions now that you are not a priority to him. His priority is clearly finding other women because he seems to be pretty damn good at it. And for him to know that you have specific trauma about co-workers and he's gone and done that anyway, he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about all the work that you've put in and the money that you've put in. I wouldn't even fucking want to go to therapy with that man. Scratch the couples therapy. He can go to his own therapy if he wants, but he can pay for you to go back into therapy. You know? That's my opinion on that. Should we read the texts? Are these the texts with Stacey? Oh my God, we've got the text with Stacey. So I'll pop the picture up here of Amy and Steve in the kitchen together. Oh my God, no, we've got the text with Steve. Okay, so this is the message that she has sent to Stacey. Hi, I'm really sorry to bother you, but I'm Steve's girlfriend, and I have something to ask. By no means do you have to tell me anything because you do not owe me that, and I'm not entitled to anything about your life. At Stagecoach this past year, I was 7 months pregnant, so was in bed early each night. I found out on Steve's phone that he had contacted you and tried to delete it and hide it, which I found weird because he convinced me that nothing came of it. In the last few days, I've caught him with another woman in our home, and he told me things that were the exact same excuse that he told me at Stagecoach, except this time I was able to prove he lied. With that being said, when you saw him at Stagecoach, did anything happen? Was he flirtatious? Did he initiate with you? Anything physical? I'm so sorry to ask. I'm just looking for answers. Stacey replied, Hey, please don't apologise for reaching out. First off, I just want to say how sorry I am that you are in this position to begin with, and I can't imagine what you're feeling right now. To answer your question, yes, Steve did reach out to me at Stagecoach, and he did end up coming to see me on the motorhome one of the nights. He had texted me asking if I was at Stagecoach and ended up calling me later that night. Nothing happened between us, however. He did say that he would like to be back in my life and wish things would have worked out different for us. I had known about you previously based on social media posts, but he made it seem like you weren't together anymore when I saw him in person. The day after he had mentioned that he was camping with you and your family and invited me to come hang out, and that's when I was going to actually talk to you about it, but he ended up dodging it completely after the fact. I wanted to reach out to you afterwards, but my friends advised me that it was already seemed so messy and not to involve myself in something I knew nothing about, especially since he didn't actually try to move on. Okay. But she said, thank you so much for your honesty. Did he say to us do anything else that made it seem like we weren't together, or was it just that comment about wishing things worked out? Sorry for prying, but this is like the end of my relationship. I need to know if it's a decision I can make. She says, I had mentioned to him that I was tossing around the idea of buying an RV and living in it full time. And he said that no woman should have to handle this disgusting part to living in one, that I needed a man around to take care of those things, and mentioned he wanted to be that man in my life. Then we discussed why things went that way they did between us, and he wanted them to work. But He was honestly really smart with his words to the point where I almost confused on his intentions. The girl says, thank you. I can't say I'm surprised though after the events that have transpired. Thank you. I'm so glad that that Stacey was receptive to this, because I feel like some girls just like will be like, no, I don't want to get involved. But she's obviously given you all the information that's going to make you make a comprehensive decision. Like I say, I believe that you should leave this man. He's essentially cheated on you twice. And if you don't count that as cheating, he's essentially gone against your wishes twice. Whilst you were pregnant, your most vulnerable state, you're alone in a tent pregnant at Stagecoach. Like, it should have been the bare fucking minimum that he stay with you in the tent. His obvious priority here was to be with his mates. Not only to be with his mates, to be with his fucking ex-girlfriend. He not once was thinking about you in that situation, babe. He is only ever thinking about himself. That's not a father, that's not a partner, and that's not a steadfast person in your life. Get rid of that fucking man. That's what I say. Whew. What a rough one. You just need to leave this man. You just need to leave this man. That's what I say. Let's move on. All right, we've got one from the perspective of a skeeve. I just found out my mum has been sending my girlfriend cruel messages for God knows how long, and I don't know how to handle this. Story time. Generally, not much rattles me. My friends call me stoic, emotionally constipated. My friends call me a stoic, emotionally constipated idiot, and they're not wrong, which is why we're all still a little bit stunned that the love of my life is basically my opposite. I've been with my girlfriend for 8 years, known her for 10. She's quiet, gentle, and brilliant. An actual whole-ass professor, and generally the kindest person I've ever met. She's silly, shy, goofy, all in the best ways, and loves to poke fun. I love all of it about her. I love her more than I've ever loved anyone ever in my lifetime. Wow. But last night, something happened that I can't let go of. My phone was charging, so I was scrolling Instagram reels on hers like I usually do. One of her friends DM'd her. Normally, I'd send back some dumb reaction photo so they know it's me, just like a thing in our circle. But it wasn't a joke. It was a screenshot my girlfriend had sent her friend, and the friend was trying to comfort her. I hesitated. Oh God, imagine I've stumbled across a crime scene. I hesitated, then opened the screenshot to see and read it better. And I'm glad I did. I don't even regret it anymore, because what I saw was multiple messages from my mother, cruel ones. And the timestamps weren't all from the same day. So I don't know how long this has been going on for. A week, maybe longer, no idea. Some of the messages my mum sent were, maybe he hasn't proposed to you because you haven't given him a child. Men don't marry placeholders. Which was the most recent one. This one makes me red. I can't even imagine how my baby felt. Oh, my baby. Oh. Another one was, if you stop dressing like a teenage boy and put some fucking makeup on, maybe he'd see you as a wife instead of one of his little friends. You're keeping him from his family. He used to visit all the time. For clarity, I'm the one who pulled back because of the behaviour towards one of my sisters. There's a whole other issue here, so nothing to do with my girlfriend. You think you're special? You're lucky he even brought you home. Girls like you don't get commitment from men like him. What? You're not good enough for the life he deserves. Reading them made my stomach drop. They were hateful and completely false. There's even more, but they're the ones that have seared into my brain. And my girlfriend didn't tell me about any of them. She's just been carrying this alone, smiling, laughing with me, all while this garbage was being sent to her behind my back. My girlfriend avoids conflict. She hates upsetting anyone, and I get it. It's easier to talk to a friend first, and my mum can be very intense. She probably didn't want me to be in the position where it looked like we were choosing sides, but I've chosen. It's not that I'm angry with her in any way. I'm completely furious with my mother. I'm exhausted by this. She knows how much my girlfriend means to me. She hears me talk about her constantly. Ding, ding, ding. There's the issue. I really thought she might actually be happy for me. At the same time, I don't want to make this harder for my girlfriend or make her feel exposed. So here's what I need advice on. Do I tell my girlfriend gently that I saw the message, that I'm on her side and she doesn't need to shield me from my own mother? Beautifully written. Or do I handle this with my mother privately and not bring it up unless my girlfriend does? I just want her to feel safe and supported, and it makes me sick to feel like she's been going through this alone. I mean, actually physically sick. I'm just watching her make breakfast now, and What's the best way to make her feel prioritized and make sure her well-being is known? Oh my God, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. So, first of all, cut that motherfucker off. There's no need for that. For her to bully, that's bullying. That's disgusting. I think you're well within your rights to cut your mum off. I would be completely honest with your girlfriend. I think this is a bigger conversation that can happen here. So I would approach your girlfriend and I'd say, Amy, love of my life, sweet baby angel Amy. I was on your phone earlier when Stacey texted you, you know, that funny reel about the wombat. Hilarious, by the way. And I opened the message and I just happened to see a screenshot and Stacey was being very supportive. I don't want you to think I was prying here, but I saw my mum's name at the top of the message and I was clearly concerned and Stacey was clearly concerned. So I read the messages and to be quite honest, Amy, I was flabbergasted. Like, I'm so sorry that you've been going through this. Like, do you want to tell me more about it? Ask her if she wants to tell you more about it. If she says no, ask why. Give her the floor. Why? What is it that you don't want me to... what is it you don't want me to know? And if it's because she doesn't want you to feel like you need to pick sides or anything like that, I would just let her know that you are my priority here, Amy. This is not okay. If it was my dad saying it, if it was one of your best friends saying it, if it was anyone saying this, you would want me to stick up for you. And I'm very conscious that this is my mother that is doing this to you. So you can stay out of this whole situation. I'm going to go approach this with my mum and see what her side of the story is. I hand on heart believe that your mum's arse will fall out of her body if she brings this up. She feels like she's big Billy Big Bollocks, Big Bertha Big Tits, saying all this stuff to a young lady. She clearly is in love with her son. And I don't believe any woman will be good enough for you in your mother's eyes. But I would approach your mum and I would say, listen, mum, I was on Amy's phone the other day because I love and trust her and we have that open connection and that open dialogue with each other. And you could even say, I was actually going to text you from Amy's phone just to ask if you wanted to come over for dinner. Blah, blah, blah. And I saw some of the things you were texting my girlfriend. What's that about them? And I would leave it like that. She'll shit herself. Because how are you going to defend those actions? You're just not going to be able to defend that at all. What's she going to say? Oh, I don't like your girlfriend. Cool. Well, fuck off then. Brilliant. Win-win all round. You don't have to see Amy. I don't have to see you ever again. Amy doesn't have to see you. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Let's get going. How absolutely disgusting. I'd also then let your dad know, because does his dad know that he's married a witch? A viper? Imagine. I could just never... You want your children to be happy, and I understand, like, you're saying that Amy is this incredible girl. You've been together for so long. I think this is just a case where your mum's absolutely horrifically jealous, and it's very clear. I don't think anyone will be good enough for you in your mum's eyes. All that matters is you and Amy. If you're dead set on Amy as, you know, your person, even if you weren't, like, your mum can't be saying stuff like that to anyone. What a horrific thing to be doing. So that's the stance that I would take. I would use open questions, especially when confronting your mum, but definitely confront your mum. And listen, in my opinion, you're gonna have to cut your mum off either way. You don't want that woman in your life. So just fucking go gung ho. You know? That's what I'd do. I would ask, this is my favourite thing, I'm sure I've said this before as well. I'd ask your mum, how did it make you feel when you were sending those awful things to my girlfriend? How did it make you feel when you were asking my girlfriend those horrible questions? How did it make you feel? Did it make you feel big? Make you feel confident, Mum? Did turning my girlfriend down make you feel better about yourself? Did it make you feel better about the makeup you wear? Did it make you feel better about the clothes that you wear? And if she goes to answer, you say, no. I don't need these answers. You need to be asking yourself these things, because it's absolutely disgusting what you've said to my partner. You're clearly saying it for some own personal gain because Amy isn't responding. You're not getting anything. You're not getting any backlash from her. You're clearly sending these things for a reason. So why are you sending them? Does it make you feel better when you look in the mirror? Do you compare yourself to Amy? You think, I wear more makeup than her. He deserves a woman like me. That's what I would do in this situation. Stay completely calm. Don't lose your rag. Stay calm, quiet, cool, collected, and walk out of that house feeling like a bad bitch. This one is not good. My roommate told me she's bringing her situationship to our apartment, but her situationship is my ex. Story time. My roommate came home last night all excited, saying she's finally wanting me to meet the guy that she's been seeing. She gives me a very, very precise description. Tall, dark hair, tattoo on his forearm, works in tech, has a very, very specific laugh-snort combo. I literally froze because that sounds exactly like my ex, like my actual ex, the one I dated for a year, the one who cried in my kitchen when we broke up, the one who still watches all of my Instagram stories. I asked her for his name. She, just to make sure, and she goes, I don't want you to prejudge him before meeting him, but trust me, he's amazing. Amazing! Hon! That man once put socks in my air fryer. I didn't know what to do. So I just said, cool, can't wait. But now I'm spiraling. Oh my God. Why is he putting socks in the air fryer? Does he think it's going to like dry it quickly? It's kind of I can't say that word. Innovative, if you ask me. I don't know what to do. So I was just like, cool, can't wait. He knows, I know, she does not know. He has definitely seen her posts, which include me. He knows we live together, which means he walked into this whole thing fully aware and didn't say a word. Why? Why would anyone do this? I don't know how to tell her without sounding jealous or making it about myself. But also, isn't it worse to say nothing and let her walk into this all confused? Part of me wants to warn her immediately. Part of me wants to never speak about it ever again. And part of me is low-key offended that my ex looked at my roommate and thought, yeah, let's run it back into the same building. I feel sick. What do I do? You've got to tell her. There's no other explanation here. She needs to know. You've just got to... Amy, darling, sit down. So this man you're seeing, I couldn't help but think when you were explaining what he looks like in his description, sounds a lot like my ex, Steve. Now, I know you never met Steve. It ended in a very emotional display from him. And I'm just very aware of the type of person he can be. And also, I don't know that I'll feel comfortable with my ex turning up. I have reason to believe that he knows that you are my roommate. He knows that we are friends. And I just find it a little odd that Steve would go for someone like that when he was quite literally obsessed with me. I think Steve is stalking me. So for my own safety here, Amy, I'm going to have for you to decline or ask him about it. Because also as her friend as well, like your roommate, you don't want her to be with someone that actually has feelings for someone else or, has ulterior motives here. I think you've just got to rip it off and just let her know sooner rather than later, because it's going to be way more awkward and she's going to be like, why the fuck did no one tell me? If Steve gets into your house and is like, oh my God, it's you, I love you. I think he's trying to get back into your life in any way that he can because you're obviously so incredible. That's my opinion on the situation here. But you've got to tell her. For sure. Anyway, guys, we are going to close out today's episode there. I hope you've enjoyed. Be sure to enter the giveaway if you would like to win some little goodies to put under your tree this year. Thank you so much for listening. If you do have any rambunctious, juicy stories, there's a link down below. Make sure to follow us across all of our socials, and I have got some really fun surprises coming up towards the end of December time for you, and maybe a late little Christmas present. And I'll see you next week for another episode. Mwah! Tatty bye!
Please fill my cup. Am I really asking for much? It's been a long week, I'm looking for fun. Please fill my cup. Find me under the sun. SOS, I'm just looking for a good time. Oh, 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 oh. And I'm singing like, whoa.